Right? She went down to Nick's house for a bit. She's watching the cooking. You know what you're gonna do.
Yeah, you either got to do it or
Or you're gonna live with it.
Yeah.
It's tough. You know? I mean, she's getting it. Day to day, it's hard to say. Yeah, much better. You know what I mean? It's just stretched out so much. So, you know, she seems to be better from 10,000 feet. But, so that's good. And she doesn't realize it. I sit back and watch this.
Well, I had the Scully did a laminectomy on it, and it was one of those things. He said, "You walk out of here feeling great," and I did. You know, I walked out of there feeling great, but they wanted me to go to physical therapy, and they pushed me too hard in the beginning of physical therapy, and I tore the meniscus in my knee. So something that was supposed to be
Not even that.
yeah,
Right.
something that was supposed to go like 4 weeks or 5 weeks and back to work turned into 5 months.
And it's interesting because you're back to Antwerp with the new beat.
Yeah.
So it's, you know, that's just the way it works. You know, things, you know, they adapt. And now all of a sudden this is better, and it's like, oh, I'm not ready there yet. So, and that's the all right, we're doing our live stream tonight. So we are on YouTube, streaming the moon live.
See any little green men yet?
No, and no flags, no flags. But if you don't want to come, anybody wants to come down and see, they can come down and see, or pick up YouTube and look for us on there. Astronomy Adventures AZ.
Okay.
And it'll be live on YouTube. Okay?
Thanks so much.
You bet. See you later.
Okay, everybody, we were able to go live a little bit early tonight, so hey, let's go with it. This is International Observe the Moon Night 2025, Saturday, October the 4th, and the moon is a little past half tonight. This is not ideal for observing the moon. It should be closer to a half moon, but it still looks pretty good tonight, and we'll see how much we have to fight with focus and the skies tonight, but it's looking good. If you have any questions at all, put them up in the chat window. I'll be happy to answer them if I can. My name is Chuck. Let me know what I can do if you have any questions.
How you doing, dear? How's things? It's not a cricket. It's the machine. No. If I'm close enough, they can come. I don't know. I think you look at YouTube. Well, you probably. I saw it.
Me at Starzona. You didn't cost me once, you cost me twice.
Oh, no, you didn't go for that.
You did it, you cost me.
I told you to do it.
Oh my God. Where's your wife? Where's your wife?
Be careful, you're on YouTube right now. Hollering at the chickster. You were right. They had one? No, they didn't. No, he was right about human breed. Yeah, I know. No, I had forgotten something. I have one that works. I have two that have. But you see, the only thing is that I don't really need them for any. Right. Yeah. So right now, as a matter of fact, I'm going to go in and see if what's here shows up in there. So come on in, because Alan's in the house. We're streaming live right now, so just so you know. So we don't have to get back in.
Okay, everyone, I think you can see that tonight with the much larger phase of the moon, more of the moon is visible tonight. I'm going to have to adjust that brightness scale a bit. I'm still catching 6,000th, 6 milliseconds is my exposure rate. And just so that you know, I'm going to go and try to adjust that a bit, maybe darken some of the features and get a little better contrast just to make it look a little better. So don't worry, if I have a problem, I'll put things back, I promise. Hello, Steve. Hello. That's true. That is correct. Yeah. Right. No, I understand. Yeah. All right. I'm sitting at the computer. You may have heard I'm going to make a couple of changes here. My exposure was a little too much for tonight because the other night it was not near as bright. So I'm going to try to adjust that exposure down a bit, get a little better contrast so that the moon looks better in the image. No, I understand. And in fact, I'm glad you did because it tells me how sensitive the microphone is. All right. Thanks, man. Bye. Hey, Vince. Glad to hear from you, man. Steve Peterson just called too. He's commenting that the moon looks a little soft tonight. I would agree, and I think mostly that's because we're quite a bit, 3 or 4 days past first quarter, and that tends to wash things out a bit more. So can't do too much about it, but I will try to adjust the focus as we get a little higher in the sky. Thanks, Vince. Appreciate the comment. All right, I wanted to let everybody else know that the moon is a little bit soft tonight because we're quite a bit more full than the other night. That means the shadows are not quite as obvious, and so you don't get as good a contrast when you have a 3/4 moon like this. I'll try to keep adjusting focus as we move forward. As the moon gets higher in the sky, we'll deal with less atmosphere, and I should be able to get a little bit better focus as it gets a little higher. The other thing you should know already, and you can see that if you notice on the sharp cap settings to the right of the screen, I was shooting the image at about 6 milliseconds before, and I have dropped that all the way down to about 2¼ milliseconds right now because the moon is so much brighter tonight than it was a couple of nights ago. So we're shooting at 2.23 milliseconds. That's 2¼ thousandths of a second for the exposure tonight. And the gain is set to 0. So this is about as sharp as I'm going to get. And I'll keep watching. If you have any other comments, let me know. Also, I will tell you one thing. If you look at the image tonight on the screen, the big picture, and up in the right corner you see International Observe the Moon Night's date, but that image in the International IOMN night was from last year. And that image I took by capturing a 5,000 frame movie of the moon, and then I used those 5,000 frames and did a stack on the moon so that everything came out much sharper. That is very much a sharper image in the small little square up there than you see tonight. Even though they're almost identical, you will notice things much sharper up there because when you stack the image, that's much better than when you're just doing a picture of the moon at 2/1000th of a millisecond. That's why the difference in sharpness from those two images. The quick, jerky moves that you see every once in a while is just me trying to keep the moon near the center of the frame. There's a slight little bit of variation in my tracking tonight, and so I will keep making minor adjustments over every 10 or 15 minutes or so just to keep the moon nearer to the middle of the frame.
Boy, it sure looks nice in here, John.
Oh, good.
Yeah, take a look. Look at that, folks. Oh, wow. Isn't that nice? So, yeah, I thought. Oh. Now, I do have virtual to be fair, this is one of those So I did that. I just tried to really, I've had to do an awful lot. This one, I didn't know I didn't. Oh, all I did, because it's equal part of the set for whole north. Right? That's why it has the angle of it. So what I do is so I think you want me to start? Oh, that's what you did. I had no idea. Now this, I've got slush. Oh, okay. Now I'm just still in the center of the top and it's the right. And this one See, and that's what
And I'm thinking, oh, you raised the opportunity. Yeah, now we know. But I like this idea of different heights and shortage. Still get up there without such a hard to fit.
I gotta move this, see it's zoomed off a bit, and that's a kind of much. Oh, it's not, it makes change every time. I just have to find which buttons. There it is. See, there's a little bit of backlash there.
Yeah.
There we go. So how come you guys can't?
Anyway,
Just can't get it. Did you just come down to the stores on me? Let me check.
oh, they did go shopping.
Vince, you were talking about the ray patterns, and some people may not recognize that very significant and obvious ray pattern from the crater down near the lower edge of the moon, that's Tycho. And the other one that's pretty obvious is above Tycho and slightly to the left of center, that's Copernicus. And both of them have very nice ray patterns. And that actually showed up a little bit better when I reduced the exposure rate down to 2 seconds, because the brightness of those rays coming out of there just was flooding the camera. So turning it down, slowing it down, gave me a little bit better image on the ray pattern, and I wanted those to come out a little better. So thanks for the comment, Vince. Interesting. See, I could turn this right now. See, if you look up here, you can see the terminators on the left side, almost exactly left. On here, it's pretty close, right? If I turned it, I wouldn't have to turn it much to get it oriented, almost exactly like it is in the sky. So I'm not going to mess with it. I'm going to put
And they
it
make a device that turns it electrically for you.
They will. It'll rotate, but I find it just as easy. I have a clutch on this as well.
Turn it.
Yeah. In fact, I don't have to unscrew it because, again, I have a little clutch on here that allows me to loosen it up and turn the camera just a bit. So the chip in there is quite rectangular, not square. I can also, if we'd like, I'm able to zoom in, right? I can go here to Sharp Cap. And now if I wanted to zoom in a little bit here, I can change the region of interest here and zoom into an area. I like to keep it relatively square, even though I don't have to. But let's see what we've got. Here, 1408 by 1410. There's the region of interest, and it lets me get in here, so I can do this, and then I can actually zoom in even beyond that, 33%, right, or even higher. Let's go to 75%, right? You can zoom right in on that much of the moon, and when you do that, you can actually use that to focus it a little bit better. You got to be careful because at higher magnifications it's fuzzier, but it gives you a good thing to look at in order to try to focus it a little bit better.
And you're zoomed in. Can you pan across the zoom?
A little bit, as if you want. See, this will allow me to adjust a little bit right here, right? So I can change the image given that region of interest, okay? And that's about centered right there. I usually leave the region of interest so that pretty much the whole moon is in there. That means I don't have to change its tracking quite as much either because I have a little more slop around the sides, right? So I usually leave it up here at, let's say, I'll leave it at auto first, right? That's the zoom, just where it is. And then if I change the region of interest back to something that here, 2816 by 2822, just about a square, and it keeps the moon pretty tight in there, right? And zoomed in a little bit maybe, right? So what I could do is I can use that region of interest, pick 50%, and maybe fill this up a little better. Maybe that's a little too much, okay? And because you see it goes out of the frame a bit. Keep it at 40. There you go. Now, if I left it there, that would be fine, but I'd be adjusting the camera a little bit more because it would go out of frame more often, right? So that's a little bit much for me. I don't want it to be quite that big in there. Leave it at 25% or even at its native no zoom at all, and then keep it at the native region of interest over here. Yeah. Okay. If I leave it like that, I can go back and you can see the Sharp Cap image is very similar to what we were at before. Notice though, the black region doesn't extend as far, so I don't have as much room to play, right? To move it around.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Because I'm not using the entire chip now. I'm using a square part of the chip and not using all the rectangle, which would push it out to here.
Does it potentially cool the chip more because you're using less of it?
Well, as a matter of fact, in Sharp Cap, I've got the cooler turned on. My target is minus 5 degrees, and it's cooled down to minus 4.9 right now. And I'm using, what is it? I'm using the cooler powers at 55% right now to keep it at minus 5 degrees. I'm going to put this back where it was, just so I don't have to make too many adjustments to it. There we go. Okay, so you see now I have all this region over here, and I can move the moon down right underneath here a little.
Now, using a different manufacturer mount, are the hand control commands similar?
Yeah, come on over here. This is an Orion, so the controllers are somewhat different, but on the whole idea of and all I'm doing now is using the directional buttons. I'll move this around a bit. I did in fact set swing rate down a little bit. Right now it's probably pretty low, so I can keep it in here. It's pretty easy to keep it. But it will allow the swing rate to so if you're going to another object, right? If you're trying to make adjustments to it, yeah. Well, as the moon is moving, and I'm over here, trying to keep it centered, but as we go on, its position in the sky is changing relative to here. So eventually, it'll start moving off a different direction as we move. And so I have to make adjustments. I use this cloner down there, IOMN inside as we key. I watch to see, does the moon get closer to the farther? Is it getting higher? And right now, I think you can see what's happening is it's getting closer to this point. So in order to keep it in, what we'll do is adjust that away from there a bit. See, just like that. And if in fact it is moving that direction, it's affecting the view here tonight. But I think if you look at that, that's not bad. I'll take that. Let's see.
Yeah, don't touch it, guys. Come back over here. Let's walk around this way. Walk around this way. Walk around this way.
That's cool. That big crater hole.
There's a glass right there.
Yeah.
Can I go look at the flathead?
Yeah, just
How you doing, guys? So this is actually what's going on YouTube. Is it? It's working? Live streaming on YouTube. And so this is the live stream.
don't even touch it. Don't even look at it.
And what they see is this part, okay? So that if I show you what they're seeing, I would do this
Hi.
right here.
Cool.
That's what they see. And that's what's up in the sky right now. And it's much brighter than it was the other night.
Yes, it is. A little bigger too, huh?
Right, that's why I had to turn the exposure time down so much.
Yeah.
Was because it's much, much brighter tonight. But if you want to see planets like Saturn with the rings,
Same thing. It'll end up right over there. See, now right now I've got to move this.
I'm trying to keep it in line for the YouTube people. There we go. And so I want to keep that in the screen for them. And that means just move it a little bit here. This. Keep it in there. There we go. And that the reason it does that is when I'm aligning the telescope early in the evening, there's no stars in the sky. So all I do is I point it to what I think is the North Pole. And I can usually get pretty close. But once it knows where the North Pole is, now it knows what time it is, what its location is. It's pointing north, right? So now if I tell it to go to the moon, it knows where it is. And so it will go there. It's not exact because it can't see exact north, right? But it gets close. And then what I do is I move it to put the moon in the view. And then I just switch it over to do lunar tracking. So it will track at the moon speed now. It stays in there most of the time. Now I have to make a change every 10 or 15 minutes just to keep it in the islands.
Just Santa.
That's actually, this is not, this is the best part. Look at it. Look at it. See, it's like moon. Full moon is like moon. Your shadows are tiny. Native, your shadows are long, right? And when you have long shadows on the moon, it makes things have higher contrast and they look 3D. You guys want a donut? I have baby donuts afterwards. The baby donut. Go get it. Baby donut. Don't be getting no cup.
So you do the thing. Dog.
Oh, she never like
So he works at his birthday until he just gets no, well, I mean, what is she watching? Yeah, then she starts. I just noticed that she's slightly she also would want to look. I well, stop. Straight down there, but
I look like super careful, guys.
How we look at John?
It's moved a little, but
What I'm going to do is I'm going to drop it down here. Just move it off to the left a bit. Because you can see it's getting closer to that side.
yep.
And obviously rising. So I can drop it down here. Let's see, right here. And then slightly move it to the left. There we go. One more drop down. That should do it. There we go. Now, how about the look? Is it, I think it's still pretty...
Still looks fabulous on the screen.
Okay. There we go. Now, you see, that's another thing about Observe the Moon Night. I really can't take this and put this out. Because the telescope is not maximized for Saturn, and this camera is not maximized for Saturn. So it would be a little tiny, little thing in there, and it would be hard to make it look good. We might be able to get there, but it wouldn't look very good. I'd probably use a different camera if I was going to put Saturn in the eyepiece tonight instead of the moon.
Even though you could zoom in as you were changing not the cropping, but the resolution.
Oh, yeah.
You could zoom in and make Saturn look bigger.
You can,
But
but then it gets fuzzier.
right,
That's exactly right. And so, but my other camera has a smaller field of view and tighter and smaller pixels. So it's a planetary camera. So that's what's nice about it. So the small pixels and the smaller field of view is good for small objects like planets, right? So I could take it to Saturn, I could blow it up a little bit, and it would look okay. But
is this the 294?
this is the 294. The one, my planetary, is the 183.
Right.
So it has the much smaller chip. And smaller
More pixels.
Yes. Okay, here. Oh, good, Chip. Thanks. Oh, that's another comment. I better look and see.
Someone's
I just got a comment from someone, ROTRPLT, said it looks good. And thanks for the comment. I hope it works for you tonight. I don't know what it's like all over the country in terms of weather, but that's why I was watching our weather here. And as we got closer and closer to this date, it was pretty obvious that I was going to have a nice clear sky. So I like to do this, register through the NASA folks, just to make sure that some people get washed out on nights like this, bad weather around the country or whatever reason. So that's why I put it up on YouTube for people to see in case they don't get a chance to see it live. So thanks for the comment. Now you can see here, this is my, I might actually be able to adjust this a little bit in Sharp Cap. See, this is my, right here, my histogram.
Yeah.
So I can do an auto stretch on it a little bit and make it, try to make it look a little better, right? I can move this over, see, like this. Move this over a little bit, not too much. Okay, there we go. Keep it here, like so. And then I can bring my black line in just a little bit here. There, like so. Okay, and then with that, I can actually take my exposure up just a hair, right? Because it looks like it got darker and a little bit sharper, a little better contrast. So I can take this probably up to 3 now, or 2.5 at least. See? So it looks pretty good, even at, what, about 2 3/4. I think that looks pretty nice, right?
Wow.
So I was able to do an auto stretch with the histogram, adjust the white balance, the dark balance, and the colors to make it look, I think, a little bit better. Came out pretty good, actually, didn't it? So let's go back here and see what we've got. How does it look there? Yeah, I think it looks great. I use Tycho as a reference point because you can see the crater and the rays system coming out of it. And when you can see the crater in the rays like that, I think that's pretty good. That's nice. It's not totally washed out yet. I might even try to see if I can make a little bit of a, maybe make a little bit of a focus adjustment on that right now. Let's see if we can do that. So how many times you can come over, see Saturn, see the moon, and have twins? It doesn't happen very often.
Special occasions.
But on Halloween, it's
All right, let's see what we can do here. Let's see a little bit this way. There. That actually looks a little bit better. Let's try to back it off and see. See, that looks worse, obviously, right? And I bring it in, better, 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 better. See? That's pretty sharp right there, right? That might have gone a little bit back. So too far. It's really difficult to get it tightened down just right. That looks pretty good.
Pretty good.
Does that look pretty good?
I like it.
All right.
Do you know what that big crater is at the bottom? Is that?
Yeah, it's called Tycho.
Oh.
It's a relatively new crater. That's why you see all these, it's called the ray pattern sticking out. That's because what happens is the sun hits the surface of the moon and darkens it, right? And then a meteor comes along and smacks into the moon and it kicks up all that stuff that was buried, not darkened by sunlight. So all that light colored stuff gets thrown out in this explosive pattern around it.
just
And so the ray patterns, they're kind of a good indication that it's a relatively younger impact because those rays haven't been darkened by the sun's rays at this point. The energy from the sun tends to darken the surface of the moon. And we look at the moon, how bright it is, and actually the moon, if there's no light on it at all, it's about the color of the asphalt we're standing on.
Really?
Yeah, it's quite dark.
Wow.
But it has some very odd characteristics where the light from the moon is about 90% of it is directed right back to the source. So if you shine a light at it, that light bounces right back to you. It doesn't reflect off away. And that being the case, that's why if you see the moon is a half a moon, it's not very bright. And then when it's a full moon, you figure, well, that'd be twice as bright because it's two halves. It's actually 10 times brighter at full moon than half. And that's because the surface features tend to focus that light right back to you at full moon, making it much brighter than you would think it should be. I think that came out pretty good.
Yeah,
That focus came out good, I think.
yeah, that's very cool.
Now, I'll put it back just to see the YouTube version and make sure that I didn't lose anything. There we go. Boom. Still there. Nice. And that is, I think it does look a little bit better on the focus.
Definitely.
And the reason, again, for that is because as the moon rises higher in the sky, that's atmosphere makes it look you have a lot more atmosphere when it's level. That's why the moon looks red when it's rising. The sun too, because you're looking through a lot more atmosphere near the horizon. And as it gets higher and higher in the sky, when it's directly overhead, that's when you have the least amount of atmosphere distorting. So the higher it's up in the sky, the clearer it should look. All things being equal. All right. Let's see how we can do this now. Try to keep it in there a bit. You're too heavy.
We're gonna go home. What do you mean? Is that her?
There you go. How are you? That came out okay. I think it worked out well, I think. Plus the adjustment of the histogram, it makes those darker patches stick out a little bit better. The contrast came out a little bit better. Yeah.
That's wow. So it's actually black. So yeah, how does it reflect so bright? Like, because you're literally just getting, like you said,
It's just,
full reflection of the sun.
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and when it's full, almost all that light is being directed right back toward us. So no shadows.
So is this considered full, like full, or is it still a little?
Is it what?
Is it this is a full-on full moon, or is it?
No, this is what we call a gibbous. It's about 3/4 full. It'll be full probably maybe late Monday night. It'll probably be full. They try to do this program, this Observe the Moon Night program. They try to do it near the half moon, the first quarter, because of it looking best then. But they also try to do it on a Saturday night, either in September or October, near that first quarter time, that first quarter phase. And so this year it ended up being a little bit later after first quarter, so it gets washed out a little bit more this year.
Cool.
8:49 p.m.
Is it?
Monday. That's when it'll be
What was 8:49 Monday?
Monday.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Is it about
later Monday?
49 right now?
No, 8:49 is when it's
Well,
going
I
to
mean,
be
like-
full on Monday night.
I just meant like right now. So it'll be kind of this time, but Monday.
Yeah, it'll be just almost this time on Monday night
So
that it'll
then-
be exactly full.
Wow. That's great.
Full moon. See, a lot of people don't even realize these relatively straightforward characteristics. The moon is full when it's rising directly at sunset. That's when the moon is full. So there's a time when the moon is rising and the sun is setting, when they are exactly opposite each other in the sky.
Yeah.
Boom, that's full moon. That's why they can give you an exact time for full moon. Up until then, the phase is still growing, and then boom, full moon. And now after that, it goes the other side, and the other star starts getting darker and darker.
Yeah.
So full moon is exactly at sunset. When the moon is rising at sunset, that's full moon. If it's rising after sunset, you've already gone past full moon. And if it's rising before sunset, you haven't reached full moon yet. And that's why you can only have a lunar eclipse during full moon, because it's the Earth's shadow hitting the moon that makes a lunar eclipse. And conversely, that means that you can only have a solar eclipse at new moon, when the moon is in the same part of the sky as the sun, because now it's the moon's shadow that hits the Earth that makes a solar eclipse. So that tells you right off the bat, you have a lunar eclipse, it's on full moon. You have a solar eclipse, it's during new moon. I got to see 2 of them so far. The one in Texas last year, and then in 2017, I went to the one in Oregon. The Oregon one came out beautifully. It worked out really, really well.
Texas was cloudy. Texas was cloudy.
Texas was cloudy. In fact, a lot of the country was cloudy at that time. So I had some very interesting pictures of it, but it wasn't near as sharp and clean as what we got in Oregon. Oh, this sounds like Nick. And his hog.
Yeah. Wonder if YouTube's gonna pick that up.
Oh, yeah.
Never mind. I guess he knows what he's doing.
Oh, he does. Look at that. See, he knows.
I know.
See, he calls me a geek. Look at it. He's a geek.
That's true.
He's a geek.
What a geek.
Those are nice, Nick. You put them on?
Yeah.
They came out nice.
Yeah.
How did your ride go?
Perfect.
Okay. I don't want to talk too much because I'm on YouTube.
Microphone's on.
Right, it is. It is. But I guess I could mute it for the moment, right? Okay, everyone, I just want to let you know that I've probably made the final adjustments on the moon for tonight. I will be streaming for another 10 or 15 minutes and then I'll be shutting down after that. If you have any questions or comments in the meantime, let me know and I'll try to get them before I sign off later, just about 9 o'clock. Okay? Okay, everybody, it is 9 o'clock. I'm going to start shutting this image down, even though I'll be ending my live stream. I'm going to keep SharpCap open just for a while, and I'm going to try to save some SER images of the moon so that I can stack them, process them, and I'll try to send them out a little bit later for people who would like to see a really nice stacked and processed image of what the moon would look like tonight. Okay? Thank you very much, and I hope everybody enjoyed the program tonight.